Now I'm going to be point blank on this, and most of us can attest to having roaches at some point in our lives. Now, if you haven't, then that's you count that as a blessing. But the majority of us, at some point in time, has had some sort of dealings with roaches. And you know how they are. You turn off the lights, and that's their party time. That's the time that, like the song "Freaks Come Out at Night," they come out at night. They come out in the dark. They wait for the dark. They love the dark. They party in the dark. You know those situations, and you, say you get up, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Excuse me, 2 o'clock in the morning. You had the lights off. You come in the kitchen, turn the lights on, and they're scattering all over the place. Okay, and I recall first starting out years ago, and we excuse me, years ago, and first got married, didn't have much money, and I was stationed in Charleston, North Charleston. Got this little rinky-dink rundown trailer, just to have somewhere to stay at the time. Didn't really have too many things planned out, and that thing was so roach infested. It was so roach infested that even during the daytime you would see them. That's how bad it was. But especially at night, I mean, they were just all over the place. I look back on that time, and oh, thank the Lord, that we've come a long way from then. And I don't mind saying, because it's humble beginnings. All right. But that example is the things being done in the dark, the bad being done in the dark. I equate roaches to insects of the devil. I think of them coming along just like rats coming along. When the fall of man came about, when Adam and Eve sinned, especially Adam, because he was the main responsibility, so to speak. And when he sinned, that allowed things like roaches and vermin to come into play. Now, those are my thoughts, and I truly believe this, because I don't see roaches and rats as something that is heaven-like. My thoughts. Those are my thoughts, okay? But I mean, think about it. But roaches, like I said, they come out at night mainly. You may see some in the day, but mainly they're about the darkness. They're about darkness. And that's how people are. Those who want to do evil, those who want to hide things, they want to do it in the dark. They don't want to be seen. And that's how roaches are. They don't want to be seen. And I recall when I did turn on the light and they would scatter and run because they didn't want to be exposed. And then they would try to hide under something that was dark so that maybe you couldn't see them. But here's the thing. With God and people, God sees us. God knows where we are. God knows what we do. Just like a situation where that roach that runs and he thinks that he got away, but you're looking right at him. You can see where he ran, but he thinks he got away. Again, equating that with people. We try to do things in the dark. We try to do things in secret. But our transgressions come to light. Our transgressions will eventually come to the forefront. Go to 1 John chapter 1 verses 5 and 7. 1 John chapter 1 verses 5 and 7. It says, "This then is the message which we have heard of him, and declare unto him that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all." God is light. God, and from what I've read, God is so bright that when all this is said and done, this world, and when God puts things back into its natural order, back into perspective, when all is said and done, there will not be a need for the sun, because his brightness will shine upon us. Let's go to John 11 and 10. John 11 and 10. And it says, "But if a man walk in the night, he stumble, because there is no light in him." There is no light in us. But when we have Jesus in us, he is the light. He lights our paths. He lights the way for us. That's why it's imperative for us to do good, to be obedient, and not sin. When we sin, it's darkness. When we continue to sin, it's like we have blinders on and we're going about in the darkness, feeling our way around. We think we can see. We're fooled into thinking we can see, but we can't. But when we have Jesus as our light, as our pathfinder, we have 20/20 vision. When we sin, we're like a blind man. You know, there's situations where you can have a blind man who has purity in his heart and be able to see better than a man with a physical 20/20 vision who sins all the time. Let's go to John chapter 3, verses 19 through 21. And it says, "And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than the light, because their deeds were evil." And we are in a situation, we've always been in those times where men desire evil over good. And they desire the darkness over light. Again, why do they desire the darkness? Because the darkness in their minds gives them cover. They think that they're getting away with things, but all the while they're being watched. You are being watched all the time. I'm being watched all the time from the one above. And we seem to always want to block this out of our minds, especially when we're about evil. Evil doesn't have to come in the sense of murder. Evil doesn't have to come in the sense of rape. Evil doesn't have to come in the sense of anything heinous like that. Evil could be that little white lie you think that you're getting away with. Evil can become that situation where you're stealing pens from the office. It's still evil. You may try to put it on that level, but God sees differently. Are you the type of person who by themselves, and they have opportunity to do wrong, do you abide in the ways of God? Or do you give into those desires and lust that says go ahead and do because it seems like nobody is looking? What do? Do you give in and take and do what you shouldn't do? But you have to remember, a light will eventually be shed on you. And will you be man or woman enough to accept that responsibility? So therefore, be light. Be that shining example of Christ. No matter the situation that you're in, no matter the trouble times that you go through, and you think that you need a break, and if I think I can get away with this or that, I'll give you a situation. Whereas when I worked at Perry Prison years ago, I was a corrections officer, South Carolina, for those out of state. And I was approached by some inmates who said, well, I know you don't make enough money, and I want to help you out. Now, you can make a ton of money by, bringing some stuff in. And we can be quiet about it, and nobody will have to know, blah, blah, blah. But the Jesus in me automatically said no. The Holy Spirit in me automatically said no. And I told him, don't ever come at me like that again. Now, some people gave into those temptations, gave into that thought, because 3 months later, there was a drug bust. 8 people, employees, so to speak, corrections officers, were arrested. I could have been among those. I wasn't. Because I did the right thing, because I was about the light and not the darkness. That was a situation about thinking in the darkness. And those actions and deeds in the dark came to light. And then they had to pay the piper. And like the song "Freaks Come Out at Night." I've heard people say, "There's no good thing that comes after midnight," meaning that you being out and about, okay, you having a good time, and but you want to stay out and do your thing. But I've heard so many things after midnight that went wrong, in the cloak of darkness that went wrong. Now that's one of those things I'm looking at now, whereas because of the pandemic, a lot of these clubs after midnight have been shut down, and that's a good thing. That's something good to take out of this. But if you got good intentions, like I said, I put it this way: after midnight, I like to have myself at home and not out trying to find something. And that's the way I look at it. You trying to find something. People think having a good time is doing things in the dark. The world has got you twisted on that. The world has really got you twisted. Again, what is hidden in the dark will come to light. Whether you think you're getting away with it, it could be a few days from now, it could be weeks from now, it could be years from now. But the thing is, it comes to light. It comes to light. So what I say is, be that beacon of light. Be that shining example of a Christian. Be that shining example of a man. Be that shining example of a woman. Be that beacon of light. Let that Christ in you illuminate wherever you're at. Be that light. Be that hope. Be that example of what a man or a woman should be. Be that light. Be that hope. Be that love. Don't be like the roaches when the light is turned on and you have to scatter. Don't be like the roaches and the light is turned on and you have to lie and cheat and steal and all kind of other things like that. When that light is turned on, will you have to run and scatter? Or will you already be about the light? Will you already be about that light, whereas it doesn't have to be turned on, whereas wherever you're at, and no matter what time of day, you are that light because of Jesus shining through you. Think about it. Enough said.